20 plus key logo design trends of 2022. Outline typefaces. Exaggerated spacing. Custom or experimental typefaces. Simple logotypes. Logos that look like buttons. Simplified logos. Gradients. Animated logos. Squares. Clean lines. Small serif logotypes. Overlapping elements. Intricate details. Lowercase lettering. Simple shapes and lines. Flat design. Initials. Circles. One color. Conclusion. Outline typefaces. Outline typefaces have been trending in all facets of graphic design for some time and are starting to show up in logos as well. Outline typefaces can be interesting, help create contrast between text elements, and even provide a lighter feel for a logo. On the other hand, outline styles can almost get lost if not weighted properly in context with the rest of the design, so it is important to use a typeface that can carry the logo. Outline typefaces can serve as the lettering for an entire logo, such as Shannon, above, or for part of the brand name, such as Golf Space, above. Both options can look great and provide visual focus. Here's how to make the most out of this logo design trend. Pick an outline font that has enough weight for the overall brand feel. Use an outline font for a simple brand icon, such as Felipe Castro, above. Consider the trendiness of this style. If outline fonts fade out of fashion, your logo could look dated and it's not something you want to redesign regularly in most cases. Exaggerated spacing. In almost every industry, there's conversation around elements that disrupt and bring attention to different things. That's what this logo design trend does. Exaggerated spacing, between words, between letters, or between lines of text, makes you look a little longer at the logo design. There are pros and cons to this style of spacing. While it can look extremely interesting, it can be more difficult to read, putting a greater cognitive load on the user. Exaggerated spacing provides a certain feel that's lighter, but can take more space for the overall logo. This style has a great deal of variability, so you can make it your own, but it can be difficult to use with some other design elements because it is a powerful element on its own. Use exaggerated spacing in a logo to help create a pause between words or phrases in the name, like a natural speech pattern. It can actually help convey meaning for your brand. Here's how to make the most out of this logo design trend. Try to contain the text elements in a container so that they don't get confused with other parts of the design. Stick to a single typeface if you can to help hold it together. Play with variations of spacing. Does it work better vertically or horizontally? Are the words or phrases under custom or experimental typefaces? Custom or experimental typefaces can be a lot of fun and really show the personality of a brand, making them a popular, and trendy, design choice for logos. What's nice about these styles is that everything about your logo design will feel uniquely custom and yours. The downside is that they can take some time to develop. But what brand doesn't take some time to get off the ground? Here's how to make the most out of this logo design trend. Determine how custom you want your logo font to be. Do you want a truly custom typeface, or is a more commercially available experimental design viable? Weigh the pros and cons of typeface features such as color or animation to determine what your needs are. A color font, for example, isn't the best choice if you foresee needing a one-color logo regularly. Ask for exclusivity if you are determined to have something that's 100% yours and unique. You can come to an agreement with a type designer about licensing and usage rights. Simple logotypes. It's hard to beat the innate beauty of a simple logotype. These logos use beautiful lettering to pull together brand identity, and it's something that we are seeing a lot more of. You can almost think of a logotype as a gateway logo for a startup or new company. For many, this is the first envisioning of a brand mark and company name before the business gets truly established. Some of these logos last forever while others eventually evolve. One of the reasons this trend is so popular may be because of the number of freelancers, entrepreneurs, and small businesses popping up everywhere. Here's how to make the most out of this logo design trend. Don't assume that a logotype is easier, cheaper, or faster to create than other types logos. Working with just the right lettering can be a challenge. Don't get hung up on a font or style until you see it with your brand name in print. Some fonts look great and then fall flat due to certain character combinations. Type out the words you plan to use in the font style of your choosing as a starting point. If you hate it, move on. The more elaborate the typeface, the less you need other embellishment. Aim for a logotype that represents the simplicity or complexity and mood and voice of your brand. Logos that look like buttons. Logos for website design can be a funny thing. One of the trends we are seeing is logos that have a button-style look. This includes square outlining or elements that look click or tappable. What's nice about this trend from a usability perspective is that it further enhances the idea that the logo is a home button in the website design. So, make sure that the logo does include a home click action. The tricky part is to design a logo that still looks like a brand mark with the button style. You'll want to use a different color or style of button throughout the design to differentiate the two. 3 ways to try it. Use a ghost or outline style around your logo. This can create the idea of a button and allow the logo to stand on its own as well. Use a button-like element with another text element for an almost yin and yang effect with contrasting styles in the logo design. Use a graphic element, such as an icon, that represents something to click. The example above from Data Shield is a solid example with a play button next to the company name. It almost demands to be clicked. Simplified logos. All the big brands are doing it. And that's when most big trends start to steamroll. There's a shift to simplify logos with easy to understand fonts with clean lines and simple imagery. Or sometimes, no imagery at all. Many times, these logos are evolutions of previous versions that result in some simplification, but new designs can start with a simple outline as well. Here's how to make the most out of this logo design trend. Pick a shape or color and stick to this theme. Develop a design that feels true to your brand, and redesigns should carry the essence of the logo being redeveloped. Don't overthink it, simplicity is key. Gradients. It seems like we just can't get enough of gradients in design projects. Logo design trends are no exception. Like the trend above, this is another place where big brands are using gradient options in their logos. And while pinks, purples, and oranges are necessarily part of this trend, it is a popular color palette. What's nice about gradient is that they add depth to an image. It can be a little tricky with logo designs because of the variance in size for logo usage. The gradient choice has to look good at huge sizes, such as billboards, and for tiny sizes, such as phone app icons. Design a gradient that's interesting but not overwhelming to make the most of this trend. 3 ways to try it. Layer different colors of gradients throughout the logo design for a more elaborate look. Use a gradient pattern within thick lines to create visual interest. Create more of a stacked gradient with an ombre effect, but using a monotone color palette. Animated logos. Animated logos are starting to become more of a website staple. Many brands are animating existing logos or creating newer, trendier animated options. What's great about an animated logo is that it makes you look Think about common website patterns. There's often a logo in the top left corner. Do you even look at it anymore? Animated logos break up the monotony of this design pattern with motion that almost forces you to look at the logo. It's pretty smart when you think about it. Here's how to make the most of this trend. Keep the animation simple. Too much movement can have the opposite of the intended effect if the logo is hard to read or understand. Consider speed carefully. Quick animations can be dizzying, slow animations feel off. It takes a lot of practice to find the speed that's just right. Don't forget to create your animated logos in color and one-color options. Squares. The change in shape is natural. With so many circle logos, thanks to social media icon shapes, more logo designs are featuring distinctive squares. The change in shape is simple. A square also fits inside a circle logo, but looks different. It's a subtle change that can make a brand or logo stand out. Most designers are using squares in a way that stacks elements, such as a square icon or brand mark with typography next to or above it that creates more of a rectangle. When used in those circular icon shapes, the logo drops to just the icon element. Ways to make it work for you. Create modular elements that you can mix and match in the logo design. Keep the overall element to a simple icon-style graphic. Overly complex pieces can be tough to break apart or read at small sizes. Don't forget lettering. It's easy to create a cool square element, but you need a brand identifier to really make it work in the long run. Clean lines. Clean lines and geometric patterns can create classic logos that work practically anywhere. There's a great deal of flexibility